bug. Suck my bug.
How would you children like to suck on my chocolate salty balls?
Oh, you mean like a chocolate candy?
No, I mean my balls.
Ladies and the gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of
Suck my balls.
Shack
Suck my balls.
by fucking
Suck my balls.
Balls SMB, a South Park review,
Suck my balls.
where we review every episode of South Park for you in linear measure.
Suck my
And
balls.
this week,
Suck my
as we
balls.
inch closer and closer to episode number 197, sorry, to 200, this is episode number 197. It's relevant. It's got some pop culture stuff that just re-popped its head up here in year 2023. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, this man is the 2022 Red Rocks Day 1 South Park Trivia Champion. He is effectively and affectionately known as a trivia god. Joe Vernolas. I just realized his name's not correct there for whatever reason. Joe, what's up?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I'll be Dane Becker for the
There you go.
recording. I'm cool with that.
Yep.
It's whatever.
Joe Vernola making his return. Voice is getting a lot better. You sound good, buddy.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I wish I could say it feels as good as it may be sounding, but like I still feel a lot of strain and stuff. And
I just figured, we just because we were weed smokers, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have that raspy voice.
maybe a little bit, but like I can tell what's from one and what's from the other.
Well, all right then. No problem, Joe. Joe, I appreciate you joining us once again on another edition of SMB, a South Park Review. Dane Becker, not here with us yet. Maybe he joins us. Maybe he doesn't. Don't know. But we'll find out. Joe, are you excited to review this episode with me?
Fuck yeah.
Nice. All right.
Hell yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dances with Smurfs. And it is the 194th overall episode of South Park. It is also SMB, number 197, as I alluded to. Now, if you're not familiar with the cult classic movie, I guess we got to call it a cult classic, all the money that was fucking spent on it, Dances with Smurfs is a parody of Avatar. Joe, did you see the original Avatar?
Yeah, I did. It took me quite a while to see it, but I did wind up eventually seeing it, and it's a good movie. I don't know if it's highest grossing movie of all time at the time it came out. Good, but
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, this aired on November the 11th, 2009. As I mentioned, 194th overall episode. The synopsis of this episode, though, starts mainly is because of the fact that Cartman is chosen to do the morning announcements at South Park Elementary. Because at the beginning of this episode, Gordon Stolsky, the announced kid, the ginger kid as well from previous episodes, when he was kicked out, wasn't allowed to be a pirate, as well as he was the one of Cartman's henchmen in the Ginger Kids episode. He unfortunately has an untimely death here, as the episode opens up with a crazed man who barges into South Park Elementary while Gordon Stolsky is doing the morning announcements and accuses him of having sex and an affair with this man's wife, Gordon Stolsky, the truck driver. And he's like, "No, I'm Gordon Stolsky, the fourth grader from who does the morning announcements." So this guy makes him try to have Gordon do the morning announcements now while he's under duress. And unfortunately for Gordon, he gets shot. The guy commits suicide, and Gordon Stolsky's character is killed off of South Park Elementary. He was styling and profiling, and unfortunately, he had an untimely death. So we'll jump into that first clip here as we review Gordon Stolsky. Now, I'm not going to play all of it because it is long. Cartman even mentions, what about that one time Gordon got to go on the air for like 5 minutes? He was killed. But we'll go into the clip here as we start off the episode. Another edition of SMB, South Park Review.
Starts tomorrow. Any interested student should fill out a... Whoa, what's going I'll kill you! Swear to God, I'll kill you!
Who are you?
I'm the man who's gonna put a bullet between your eyes!
Hey, he's got a gun.
You little bastard! You fucked my wife!
So as we mentioned there, he says he effed his wife. Then some other faculty member comes in. He goes, "Hey, you can't be in here!" And then he kills that guy.
Yeah.
Right. Moving forward,
Drew, go on, read the morning announcements!
as I mentioned,
Somebody help me! I said do it!
make it forward, try to read.
Any interested students should fill out an applicant survey. I knew you were lying. That was terrible. Now put your mouth over the barrel of this gun.
No, please. I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
Do it.
Please. I'll do whatever you say. Here, see.
So he put his mouth over the barrel, and then he shoots him, and he kills him, and now he's dead. Unfortunately for
Everyone else has like this really kind of nonchalant, like, wait, did that just happen? Look. And Butters is just like, oh my God, holy shit.
right, actually the two, and it's interesting, like, because later on when they're doing more of these announcements, we'll see the two people that are really paying attention the whole time. If you watch, I was watching this episode, are Butters and Timmy. Timmy and Butters are very engaged in Cartman's morning announcements, but we'll get there, and we'll explain how we get there. So, following this, moving on in the episode, they have kind of a school assembly remembrance of Gordon Stoltzky. We kind of, if you're watching on the YouTube there, you saw the picture of Gordon Stoltzky there in loving memory of him. So after Mr. Mackey gives a wonderful speech about Gordon Stoltzky, he basically says that, you know, we've got to find a brand new morning announcer.
Attention.
So he says, hey, you know, the morning announcements are, you know, a vital thing. Everyone's going to hear your voice. And if you think you're up to it, then apply and become audition for the morning announcements. So Cartman shows up. First kid that shows up is a kid who stutters. And Cartman's like, I got this in the bag. Then after the stuttering kid goes in, then Casey shows up. And that's, of course, Casey Miller, not Casey Kasem, as we like to say the original. I'm styling and profiling. This is Casey Miller.
Yeah, I think it would be really fun and raise my self-esteem.
Oh, this is it, huh? Okay. Mike, why don't we have you try out first?
He stutters like a bitch. I've got this job in the bag. Who are you?
Yeah.
My name is Casey Miller, and I'm in the 3rd grade. Ever since I can remember, people have told me I should read the morning announcements. My friends always said to me, Dear Casey, your voice is like butter to our ears. Could you please find a way to get that audible chocolate on the airwaves?
So let's jump ahead. The best part here, as Cartman's about to walk in, look at his face. He's so angry that this kid fucking shows up.
Right?
Like, and
this motherfucker.
And then he slowly gets off.
Eric, you want to go next?
And walks in and watches him the whole time. This is great.
Okay, Eric, I'm just going to have you read this piece of paper.
Mr. Mackey, what's a moronic jizz rag?
What? What on earth are you asking me that for?
Well, it's just that that's what that Casey kid said about your hairpiece.
Get lost, you little dirtball!
Excuse me?
The fact that he buys this, come on, Mackey, you know
Immediate, right?
You know Cartman. You shouldn't do that. But hey, he did what he had to do to get ahead here. So the next day at school now, Cartman gets a job. And his first day on the job, he goes right after student body president Wendy and claims that her leadership in the school is on a rapid decline.
All because of the school lunch.
All because of the school lunch. He's tired of cold sandwiches. And then later on when they get pizza, he gets mad. Pizza again? What's happening to my school? What is happening to my school? It just, of course, is going to progressively show here that Cartman will constantly look for things to complain about as more of a commentary on certain, we'll call it, as it's called in news media, talking head format of news, where it's just somebody sitting there giving you news and giving their opinions on the news versus actually giving you the news. So there's talking head news, and then there's biased news, and there's even unbiased news, where like it means like you're being paid, so you have to say it, but you have to show unbiased. It's stupid. All these fucking rules. But then you could have regular news, and it's harder to find that unless now it's the internet. Everyone uses the internet, so you got all these different news outlets that come up with their own different shows on YouTube. So I'm sure you could find whatever, political affiliation or what you believe in now. I don't know. TYT's on there. They're big, right? And then you got the Republican.
Oh, yeah.
TYT, these other, I think one of them's like, it looks like he's Jewish or Italian. I don't know. The conservative side, and they got all these other people. Let's jump into a clip here as we talk about Cartman's new job. And he goes right after you, Wendy Disney.
Of cold sandwiches. Cold sandwiches. Oh, well, thank you so much. Remember when we used to be served hot food? I mean, what has happened to our SKU? This school is transforming into something very bad. And why? Because we have leadership that doesn't care. I'm talking, of course, about our student body president, Wendy Testerberger. Ever since Wendy was elected student body president, this school has started a rapid decline towards some socialist regime
Butters, they're really
where students no longer have a voice.
They're very paying attention. I mean, everyone's
Music
looking.
room will be closed off today due to painting.
Stands kind of
All
like
students
what?
in band or choir will meet in the gymnasium instead. So now the school is using money to paint the music room. How old and outdated is our playground equipment? What other school has a 15-year-old merry-go-round on it? Our school president is turning this whole place into communist Russia.
Oh my God! So following this, he gets called into the office of Principal Victoria and Mackey. They say, "Look, it's just about morning announcements. Like, just read the morning announcements that way the students can get along their way." And Cartman's like, "What? Yeah, his last time on the announcement was like 5 minutes." And Mackey answers back because he was, of course, being murdered. But Cartman says, "No, you're trying to silence me about speaking out against the school." So he calls the ACLU, gets their lawyers to visit the school, and they, of course, agree with him that he's being denied his free speech. So now Cartman gets his own fucking unabashed time in the morning to spew his hatred on the announcements with each about, teacher protests, slamming her and claiming her that she is turning the school into a socialist dunghole. And this is going to get a couple people riled up, including Butters, as he gets drawn further into Cartman's machinations. So here comes the ACLU now. He's all smiling. They're all like turning their heads down, Mackey and Victoria.
Well.
Good morning, South Park Elementary. These are the morning announcements. Tryouts for the soccer team are Friday afternoon. That is, of course, if our student body president does something about our abysmal soccer field. I have a question. What does Wendy Testerberger actually do? She is supposed to be the president, right?
What is her agenda? She's lying to everyone. Or is she? Let's ask these questions. Today I want to talk briefly about the state of our SKU's economy. The bake sale last week was a complete failure. And it is going. And besides that, who actually voted for Wendy Testerberger? I know I didn't. And everyone who did is now scratching their heads and going, whoops, guess I shouldn't have done that. I'm not in the student.
Okay, we don't need to go through the montage of clip stuff. But as you can see, it was a montage of morning announcements there from Eric Cartman every day as he tried to profess his hatred towards Wendy, or looking for his heel to his baby face. Or I guess he's the heel and she's the baby face in this story.
Oh no, in his mind, he's a baby face.
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay, and this gets better. So this gets Butters.
As always.
No, you're fine. Butters gets the attention, and throughout the show, he gets drawn further, as we mentioned, into Cartman's machinations. But now, eventually, Eric gets TVs now installed in the classroom to do the professional-looking EC show. And he says, I'm a normal kid like you. I just ask normal questions. And then states unfounded attacks against Wendy using loaded questions. He walks to a chalkboard with words divided into two columns explaining Wendy's agenda. The chalkboard lists keywords. The first column explaining that Wendy wants the school to be more integrated, leftist, and a liberal place. And the second column explaining that everyone will get socialist, modern, utopian, reformed, farce of a school. And Cartman circles the first letters of those words, spelling out the words, kill Smurfs, suggesting that that's what Wendy wants to do. And there's a point where I think it's Ike, they show the kindergarten class, he goes, no!
Yeah.
Ike buys it. Once again falls into Cartman's trap of propaganda. Cartman seems to have a pretty good influence on Kyle's little brother. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, the kid's young, impressionable.
It does also feel like that Ike is more on the conservative side.
Yeah.
All right, so here's now Cartman telling the class to direct their attention to the video screens.
Monitors at the head of your class. You will see that the announcements are now being
I like
done in
Kyle's
video.
reaction here.
Oh, God. No. Lunch today is going to be pizza. Again. Friends, our school is dying, and you know it.
You know it.
You feel it. You're like me, you want to change it.
Change it.
But oh no, Wendy Testerburger's not going to let that happen. This is not the school we grew up in, and I don't know if we can get it back. So let's take a look at exactly what our school president wants. What is she trying to achieve? Let's just take a look at these key words here. Wendy's made it clear she wants our school to be a more integrated, leftist, and liberal place.
But you see, when that happens, what we get is
a socialist, modern, utopian, reformed farce of a skew.
So when you look closely, it becomes very obvious
what Wendy wants. KILLSMURFS. Our school president wants to kill Smurfs. No!
The girl sitting next to him just looks at him like, whoa.
Well, let's go back. We can see, look, whoa. They're all looking at him. The teacher. No! I guess the cat's out of the bag. Ike's a big Smurfs fan. I guess that's what just happened. We found out there, right?
Good for him.
Let's take a moment to recognize the fact that Joe this evening is wearing a Waffle House shirt, or a Waffle House sweater. So fuck yeah. Well, representing, dog. I like that. Waffle House it up. Did you get that for free, or did you buy it?
No, I bought it.
Oh, yeah, you bought it. Did you buy it on a late night bender when you were drunk after a show? Nice. That's how you buy it. I'll fucking take that. I'm fucking cold. Give it to me. It's Colorado.
Right. It's exactly basically what it was. Fucking cold.
Right.
Well, we sell these hoodies. I'm like, what?
Waffle House hoodies?
I was like the Fry meme. Shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take it. So now that Cartman has talked about this Smurf thing, Cartman has now set up a table in the school later on to sell his books for $5 a piece. He refers to Butterscotch. He's like, hello, Butters. When he comes up to him as another person who actually cares about the future of our school. Now, he writes a book that is over 500 pages of just ripping on Wendy. Stan confronts him for putting extremely graphic passages about Wendy in his book, which presents her extremely as promiscuous. And Cartman's like, you didn't read all of it. Look it. Or did she? I'm just asking questions, Stan.
God damn it.
Oh, my God. Okay, so let's and then basically Principal Victoria and Mackey tell him he can't sell his book in the school, and Cartman's like, you're a Lackey, Mackey, and then he tells him he's going to leave the school. So let's jump into that clip here, or those clips itself. Oh, that's right. There is the part here where Butters confronts Wendy in the hallway.
Oh my God.
Maybe you guys should check into what student council actually does before you just blindly listen to what some idiot with a microphone tells you.
That's true.
What did the Smurfs ever do to you, you bitch? I just called the president a bitch. Yeah, that was cool. Awesome. Yeah, thank God.
So I want to point out there that I want to point out, as we're about to get into this book signing, what happened to Matthew? Butters there has taken what Cartman has taught him, and now he's manipulating these kids. I called the president a bitch. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Like, so he's like the king of the nerds. Cartman, like I said, Butters has taken the manipulation tactics of learning to be a pimp this year, and from what he knows about Eric Cartman's sociopathic side, and he's integrated it well, which is why later on it does turn into the fact in the alternate reality that Butters becomes the king of crypto. Anyway, Joe, you look like you want to say something.
NFTs. I was just gonna say some of it is probably just like Butters getting a little bit of a boost of self-confidence, like, yeah, I fucking stood up for what I believed in and called this woman a bitch. But there's also the deeper whole thing of like, oh yeah, I'm fucking talking shit on the president, and like people are like, oh yeah, you were so cool.
You're so cute. All right, so let's jump in now to this clip of the book signing. Here, Cartman.
Thank you, and this is to Douglas. To Douglas. There you go. Book signing today, everyone. Be sure to pick up your copy. Hey, Eric. Well, hello. Another person who cares about the future of our school? Oh, you bet.
I love all the stuff you said about how our school president never does anything.
I just want to point it there. Like, you can totally tell here what they're representing Butters here is Butters being manipulated by television and media to be blindly led into different discussions and topics in which he's not even doing his own research about, which is still prevalent in today's age of society, even more so, right? Because people watch like mainstream. Now, I will say, it does seem in the last year, I have noticed a decline in mainstream media. I've been even meeting people who are like, used to watch Fox News. And they're like, yeah, I'm not watching Fox News anymore. Fuck those people. And you're like, oh, wow. Like, so at least they're getting a little woke up, but they're still watching Tucker on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it now too. So like, they're still getting their fill of their own conservative side of propaganda, just like people get their fill of Democratic, just like people get their fill of progressive and independent and liberal and libertarian and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? There's shows for everybody. So like, even more so, you can find somebody to hit your echo chamber with the information that's going to give you that adrenaline junkie fix that you need to like vindicate your core values and morals and what you believe in.
Right? That little dopamine hit.
Right. All right. So jumping forward here now, let's see here. As we mentioned, Stan's going to be like, dude, what the hell is in this book?
I looked through your stupid book. It's 540 pages of ripping on Wendy and calling her a slut. I do not directly say she's a slut. Wendy Testerberger has proven time and time again that she will do anything to pleasure her vagina. Whether it is the school football team or the janitors on their break, Wendy spends her time as president on her knees or on her back taking the old in-out for hours on end. You didn't read the rest, dude. Or does she? See, that's a question. I'm asking questions.
The old in and out for hours.
I'm asking questions, Stan. Okay, now we jump into the office here. Oh, that's fine. This is funny here. Here's where he's being confronted.
If our president is a penis-hungry hooker with a huge vagina. I'm Casey Miller.
I'm Casey Miller.
Wendy, did you see the stuff Cartman is saying about you now?
That's right.
Really
Dan tries to get Wendy to do it, but she won't stand up for herself because she doesn't want to buy into it. She doesn't want to sell for it, essentially, right? And then, as I mentioned, here's the counselor's office.
Have to fly an airplane through?
And what if they are? You'll stop me from asking just because Wendy forces you to?
Eric, the student body president really doesn't have the kind of power that
Just enough power to force you to stop me from selling my book. Face it, you're a lackey.
Eric, I've had enough. You cannot and you will not sell your books on school grounds. Do I make myself clear?
Clear as summer rain. Clear as a flavorless bottle of vitamin water. This school is finally
flavorless bottle of vitamin water. Have you ever had
vitamin
that?
Water.
You ever had that?
No, isn't that just water?
I mean, maybe. I'm sure they make flavorless vitamin water. Why don't you look that up for me? Maybe look that up for me and find out.
All right.
Is there a flavorless vitamin water? While Joe looks that up here, we'll move on here throughout the episode. The next day, Cartman returns after he left school because he was mad about the fact that he couldn't sell his book. He was like, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. But he does come back. Joe?
So, it is not made by vitamin water itself, but there are drinks out there.
Water with vitamins in it.
Yeah, that
makes sense. Okay, so Cartman comes back now to school next day, and he weaves a story of how he chose to live with the gentle Smurfs. Now, in the story, it's a parody of Avatar, but with Smurfs. Cartman paints his face blue and wears a Smurf costume with his bare chest showing. The Smurfs teach him how to pick Smurf berries, and he falls in love with Smurfette. A very fat Wendy, Cartman, in a very unconvincing drag, comes to destroy Smurf Village because the Smurf berries are worth a lot of money. So she runs down the Smurfs and their village, and in a graphic cartoon violence with the bulldozer, killing Smurfette and most other Smurfs in a brutal fashion. Cartman again uses this fallacy to convince the kids all happened by saying, "Go ahead and look outside. You won't see any Smurfs." And all of this is now documented in Eric's new DVD, Dances with Smurfs. Before we show that clip, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on the other side. Brought to you by Spreaker. We'll be right back. What's up, guys? MSG here. Are you looking for a brand new place where you can talk everything and anything about South Park? Well, now you can. Head on over to Facebook and join the South Park Fan Club. myself and my other co-hosts operate and run the largest South Park Facebook group in the world with over 150,000 members. So come on down to South Park Fan Club and let's make some friends.
This is Mr. Mackey. You're listening to the Suck My Balls podcast. Okay.
And we're back now on the other side. Thank you once again for a quick commercial break there, brought to you by Spreaker. Let's jump now into our clip here of Dances with Smurfs, Cartman's rendition.
Fed up with our president's hypocrisies, me not being allowed to sell my book. I wanted to live in a place where my values were still upheld. And so I decided to leave it all behind and instead go and live with the Smurfs.
In one day.
I simply observed the gentle Smurfs at first. I wanted to understand how they could live such simple and decent lives. They were wary of me at the beginning. But slowly, I began to earn their trust. It wasn't long before the gentle Smurfs accepted me as one of their own.
Whoa.
Butters.
Smurfs and I grew to understand each other. They shared
And
with
Kyle
me their
just
art of
can't
picking
fucking
Smurf
stand it.
berries. And I shared with them stories of my country's forefathers. Of course, it wasn't long before I fell in love with Smurfette.
The fucking
We're from two
graphics
different
on this
worlds,
movie,
and yet we
Cartman.
spoke the common language of passion.
These are the morning announcements.
Papa Smurf was displeased at first. He told Smurfette I wasn't a real Smurf and we could never be happy.
These are the morning
But I eventually proved myself to Papa Smurf by picking more Smurf berries than any Smurf had ever smurfed before. Finally, all was right with the world. But then, a crisis. Clumsy Smurf burst into the Smurf ceremony to say that humans had come to destroy all of Smurfland. No! No, you must
Wendy
leave the
now.
noble Smurfs alone! Who's behind all this? I should have known. Wendy!
Out of my way.
Wendy, what are you doing here?
She just has huge boobs.
Money. With all those Smurf berries, I can power the SKU for the entire year.
That is a good call out, though. That's a good point of continuity. She did fucking get breast implants in the episode where she did get breast implants in that episode. So
Yes, Ata.
that is some good continuity there. So as you see there, Cartman tells this full story. I don't want to play all of it, but she wrecks all. I'm gonna mute this part. She wrecks all of the Smurf berries by running over them and with a bulldozer. And then Cartman now comes back and he's crying. This part's funny though.
And so now our SKU has plenty of precious, unobtainable Smurf berries. Yeah, well, big deal. At what cost did our SKU president get it? Every Smurf is dead. Wiped out, and we will never see them again. Go on, look outside. You won't see any Smurfs.
Butters.
Of course, since I'm being silenced, I'm not allowed time to show you the entire movie. And so please buy Dances with Smurfs, available now on DVD.
On DVD. Oh, Cartman. That's great. Okay. So now, Butters' infatuation with Eric's views bring him to call the first cry of a rebellion against Wendy. So Butter organizes a group with similar t-shirts that state, "I ask questions," and leads the group to Wendy's house. There, he climbs her steps and takes a piss on her front door. Her father answers it. And then Butter's like, "Go on the EC show and defend yourself. Answer for your crimes." And and then Wendy's dad's like, "Did a little boy just piss on our door?" And Wendy's like, "I'll take care." No, did a little boy just piss on our door and say that you killed all the Smurfs? And Wendy's like, "I'll take care of it." And then she's eventually going to go on the morning announcements. But I do want to show the scene here where Butters pisses on her door. I ask questions.
Let us not forget what happens this day.
Do it.
We are
Butters-
here, Wendy Testamaroo.
3, 6, 12 kids with him. He's got a little people there. He's got a little group. You know, he's pissing on the door.
I love it. They always
Butters.
make light of how he pisses.
I am.
Now Wendy, she pops up.
Hey, what are you doing? The students want answers. Go on the morning announcements if you've got nothing to hide.
What the hell?
Well,
Pants down.
He still has he's still holding his shirt up.
Credits on the morning announcements.
Wendy, did a boy just pee on our door because the Smurfs were murdered?
It's okay, Dad. I'll take care of it.
Poor Wendy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now the next morning, Wendy does go on the morning announcements. Cartman is seated opposite of Wendy and and basically now he's even taken his like talk show host game even up. He's dyed the sides of his hair gray and he's gotten a haircut so that way he can look more like, he kind of looks like what's that guy that's still on Fox, the big guy? Not Carson. Sean Hannity. He kind of looks like a Sean buff.
Yeah.
Or even like Billy Bush. Kind of looks like Billy Bush a little bit too. But there's definitely more Glen Beck, I think, at the time as well. So anyway, he has that white guy fade type.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see
some like Rush Limbaugh in there too.
Rush Limbaugh. That's a good one too. All right, so let's jump into this clip here now of the EC show where Wendy's going to give her side of the story and tells how why all the Smurfs died, and she's basically going to flip the script on him as she turns the table on with her own loaded questions. Do you know how much a single Smurf berry can generate? And then she's going to spin this whole story into where she announces to Eric that she has actually sold the rights of her new book and tells Eric to go see it. It's in theaters right now. Here's the show.
Of South Park Elementary, Wendy Testerberger. Wendy, thank you for coming on the show.
Sure.
Wendy, I want to start by asking a pretty straightforward question, and I hope you don't take offense to it.
Okay.
How many Smurf berries is the life of each Smurf worth?
I have no idea what...
You don't know how many Smurf berries the life of each Smurf is worth.
Oh, he's got her now.
Would you agree that the school is in a crisis right now?
I believe there is a few things wrong with this school, but...
If a Smurf dies and no one is around to hear it, does it still scream?
She's speechless.
You are the president of the school. Can you see why many students think you're an ineffective slut?
Are you denying that the Smurf Holocaust ever happened? Is that what you're suggesting?
Look, Eric, you have to understand. The Smurf berries were our school government's only option.
Yes, and that makes... Wait, what?
What was I supposed to do?
She plays into it.
The school was running out of power. We tried relocating the Smurfs at first, but they wouldn't budge. So we decided to get somebody on the inside, a member of the school who could act like one of the Smurfs and learn their secrets. But of course, you know that, don't you?
What do you mean I know that?
I'm just asking the question. We all knew you were sent in to live with the Smurfs, but did you know they would be wiped out?
No, you wiped them all out.
Nobody expected you to fall in love with Smurfette. You went to learn from them, but instead
this
you
is the
became one of them, right? Fought against your own kind when you knew we'd stop at nothing. Do you know that one Smurfberry can power the school for 2 months? One Smurfberry!
Wait, hold on. Can we take a break?
No, it's okay.
And then we jump ahead now, and she's going to say...
Answered what really happened in my new book, Going Rogue on the Smurfs.
No, dude! You don't just take one person's story and then add a couple things and call it yours!
Luckily, with the money I made selling the movie rights to my book, I'll be okay.
You sold the movie rights to who?
James Cameron. Go look, the movie came out already.
They can't do that! I'm student body president!
It's like, kick Rick.
God damn it! Son of a bitch, idea-stealing assholes! You sons of bitches! Dances with Smurfs was my idea! My idea!
So as a result of this now, Wendy turning the table, she basically steps down as the president. And then what's interesting, though, is I don't think you can do this, but she declares that Eric is the new now class president. I feel like if you step down as president, it probably should be a vice president. They would
go to a VP, yeah.
And then like everybody would then move up, and then they would elect like a new house or a new room, hall monitor, class or something.
Actually, I think the way it goes is they wind up nominating a new vice president, or that president just goes without for the rest of that term.
Right. Okay. So now, since a student, though, can't hold a position of president and the morning announcer at the same time, Eric is forced to step down from his position as announcer, with his new replacement being Casey Miller, who now scathingly criticizes Eric as the student body president, with the episode ending with Cartman crying bitterly in response, leaving the room. So let's go ahead and here we'll show the final clip on another edition of SMB, a Just My Review.
Dude, what happened? You're not doing the morning announcements anymore? No, because it turns out that by rule, the student body president can't also be the morning announcement reader.
Good for
Oh well, at least as president, you can run the school the way you want.
I can't do jack! I went to my first student council meeting. All we did was talk about what colors to make the stupid Sadie Hawkins dance. Student council's retarded.
The sun is up and the birds are chirping. I'm Casey Miller, and these are the morning announcements. I have a letter from second grade student Brian Fellner. Brian writes,
Dear Casey,
why is our school president such a fat, stupid dickhead? My desk is broken, and so far Eric Cartman has done nothing about it.
He's still smiling.
Will you please let that walking bowl of anus pus know that we are not happy?
You're not happy.
Well, Brian, I couldn't agree more. Our asshole president is a fat, smelly douchebag milkshake.
I'm doing the best I can.
Now, basically kind of gets what's coming to him there as the episode hits the credits and we wrap it up. So ladies and gentlemen, that's your full episode recap. We'll be right back on the other side with another quick word from our sponsor, as well as some plugs from where you can find us on all of our social media outlets. We'll be right back. Subscribe to Suck My Balls, a South Park review on Spotify, Apple's, iTunes, anywhere you want to download a podcast, just type that in, subscribe to our feed, and you'll get the latest, greatest episode each and every week. You can also listen to us on YouTube and go back and watch some videos or any of our library. It's all there. Suck My Balls, South Park review.
This is Eric Cartman from South Park, Colorado, and you're listening to Suck My Balls, a South Park review that's pretty cool.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the other side. Once again, shout out to our sponsors, provided by The Spreaker. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching it right here on YouTube. You can also go ahead where I'm pointing, Linktr.ee/SouthParkPod. Go there. Take a look at all the landing pages. Hit the like, follow button there. Share with your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, anybody who loves adult animation, loves South Park. Just share this. Be like, hey, these guys break it down every fucking week in linear fashion. Over 197 episodes now. This is 197. We're almost at 200. Almost 4 years.
We're huge in Europe.
We're huge in Europe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear his voice there. This man is the 2022 Red Rocks Day 1 South Park Trivia Champion. This man is a doctor of thugonomics, punkonomics, scooponomics, polyphonics. And he is a trivia God. Joe Vernola.
A new 4th grade class is seen in this episode for the first time. This includes Billy Martin, Beth, Kelly Pinkerton Tinfurter, Kelly Rutherford Menskin, the nameless boy with brown hair and red shirt, and Nate.
Kelly Pinkerton.
Kelly Pinkerton Tinfurter. Here. Right here.
Kelly Rutherford Menskin. Here.
Did you invite this guy? No. What's that?
Dad. Sorry.
Just got like the as we said earlier, this episode is the final appearance and death of Gordon Stolsky. He previously appeared in Ginger Kids and Fatbeard with a yo-ho-ho.
Yo-ho-ho.
Rest in peace, Gordon. In previous episodes, Gordon was voiced by Matt Stone, but in this one, he is voiced by Trey Parker.
That's so cool. Like when both the guys are so talented, they can just flip the other voice and do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, that is dope. As any Smurf fan noticed, Smurfette is actually blonde, but appears in this episode with dark brown reddish hair, similar to Sassette, who was the secondary female Smurf character. Okay. You know, the one not created by Gargamel to bring down the Smurf village from the inside. This is Mr. Testaburger's final speaking appearance to date. Cartman's line, if a Smurf dies and no one is around to hear it, does it still scream, is, of course, alluding to the philosophical experiment of if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it still make a sound?
And ladies and gentlemen, that is your trivia. All right, now let's go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Becker's not here, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into some pop culture. Dances with Smurfs is a reference to a Smurfs cartoon from the 1980s and the 1990 film Dances with Wolves. During Cartman's video of mingling with the Smurfs, the music is heard similar to the soundtrack of Dances with Wolves. Some of the Smurfs even referenced as Smurfette, Papa Smurf, Vanity Smurf, Hefty Smurf, Briny Smurf, and Clumsy Smurf named in Cartman's narration, but not given his own unique cartoon design. Scarface is referenced after a jealous husband murders Gordon Stolsky during the morning announcements, in which he paraphrases lines, "Look at you now, you're dead." And this case, in the episode of South Park, he says, "Look at you now, we're all dead." The title was used as a criticism in a review of James Cameron's film Avatar, the creators feeling that the story was extremely similar to Dances of Wolves. Cartman explains James Cameron used his ideas for his film Avatar after Wendy sold him the book Going Rogue on the Smurfs. Oh, we'll get our answer here. Cartman in his morning show parody, Glen Beck, heavily as you mentioned. Cartman repeatedly says, "I'm just asking questions," which is a common Beck phrase. He uses a chalkboard to illustrate his conspiracy theories, which Beck did as well. The show intro...
which is what gave it away for me.
Okay. And then the show intro and the set are similar to that of Beck's show. And then, of course, in the last part of the episode, he has the color and shape of his hair. Cartman references A Clockwork Orange when reading an excerpt from his book, saying, "The old in, old out, the old in and out," which is a euphemism for sex. Wendy's book, Going Rogue on the Smurf, is possibly a reference to Sarah Palin's book, Going Rogue, An American Life, which was released 6 days later, or after this episode aired. Casey Miller's appearance, speaking style, as we referenced, was the radio personality of Casey Kasem. And finally, the chime sound before Eric's announcements, E5, G4, C5, are similar to NBC's older xylophone theme, G4, E5, C5, if you got that. If you're a musician like us, you'll understand. Joe?
So, do you know why the NBC xylophone theme is GEC?
No, tell me.
It's for the old ownership, the General Electric Company, GEC.
Now you know a little even more pop culture there from Joe Vernell as we end this segment. All right, let's go ahead and let's jump into some continuity here. Ike screaming "No!" after Cartman states that Wendy wants to kill Smurfs is the same thing that was heard when Ike keeps seeing the spirit of Billy Mays in Dead Celebrities. Clyde Frog makes his first appearance since the season 12 episode Tonsil Trouble. Smurfs were last referenced and seen in the Imagination Land trilogy. An image of them can be found as well online, and you can see it in the background of the shows. As I think we mentioned it too when when Cartman was there for Imagination Land and all of them. Cartman's instant attack on Wendy is likely an act of revenge for her beating him up in the breast cancer show.
Right, and I was gonna say that might be part of the reason why Wendy just can't even be bothered to fuck with. Like, I beat the shit out of this kid already, and he's still fucking doing it. What the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, pop culture continuity there when that segment. Joe, final thoughts. What did you like about this episode?
And it has nothing to do with political leanings or anything like that. I was just never really a fan of Glen Beck or anything like that, so anytime they make fun of media personalities who have perhaps just a little bit too much influence, whether it's for good or bad, when South Park rips into it, it's always pretty good. It kind of shows that here we are, 14 years later, almost 14 years later now, and we're still talking. Well, it's been 20 years now, if you even want to go even further back, where we're talking about like the legitimacy of people's votes, and I didn't vote for her, he didn't vote for her, that kind of bullshit.
No,
although back then they were acknowledging that yes, people voted for Wendy, but it just there were a lot of jokes that were funny on the surface, but if you started looking a little deeper, they were jokes 2 and 3 times over.
Yeah, good points there. I enjoyed just Cartman throughout this whole episode, his transition from just the regular school kid to the morning announcements, of course getting back at Wendy, him looking more like Glen Beck, the Dances with Smurfs movie. That always gets me.
We really like blueberries to fund our school. I want all the blueberries.
It's in rendition of Wendy.
I don't care. I'm going to kill them all.
I can't even do the voice now. Because we're getting toward the end of the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed this episode. And then, of course, Cartman always gets it in the end, which is good. Every time you think Cartman's going to, have a happy ending, Matt Stone and Trey Parker make sure to take it away from him. So he never really has a happy ending. And it was a good episode.
Yeah, and then even when we did think Cartman gets a happy ending, they pull it out from under our feet.
That's true. That's true. Well, overall, a great second to last episode of season 13. Cartman gets his own episode once more. And once again, he gets his comeuppance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of SMB, the South Park Review. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right now, please, if you're watching it on YouTube. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I looked through all the analytics and only a little bit of you subscribe who are actually watching. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. But hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate that. Go to Linktr.ee/SouthParkPod for all of our landing pages. South Park Pod mostly, and pods on all of the outlets. If you just type that into Google or any of your favorite search engines, we should come right up. You can also go ahead, check out our boy Dane Beck, go do something.net, and he, want to hire him for editing, video producing, production. Go check him out. Joe, what's going on in your world, buddy?
Oh, let's see. This is coming up the weekend of, or the week before the weekend, the
21st.
Yeah, that's what I meant. October 21st, CSW Halloween Slam Bash finale at Sunshine Studios Live in lovely Colorado Springs, Colorado. Sunday, October 29th, about 5:30, 6 p.m., sometime around the end of the Broncos game, we will have a Dia de los Muertos show at Vibe on 10th and Broadway in lovely Denver, Colorado. And then November 12th, we go back to the Roxy Theater for Loaded. You can get tickets for that right now at theroxydenver.com.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of SMB, a South Park Review. I'm your host, Nahid, and I can't be beat. If I didn't introduce myself, I'm the man who's high where the air is so very dry. Your boy, MSG. Thanks for stopping by for another edition of SMB. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of SMB, a South Park Review. Coming up next week, it's the season finale of season 13. What happens when our boys visit the water park? It's going to be a lot of pee. Kyle does not like pee. I also want to point out, as we exit this episode, while this is SMB number 197 you just listened to, with the 3 episodes of Smash Balls, technically, this was our 200th recording. So thanks so much for listening to South Park. We'll be back, of course, for episode 198, 199, and the official 200. Check us out on all podcast outlets. Hit that like and subscribe button one more time before we go. We appreciate you listening. Come back for the P. Next week for the P. Waffle House, bitches.